if we're speaking in one particular platform, you have to understand that person lacked what it is to have a relationship with a mother. You see what I'm saying? And so you always have to go back and see where people are coming from. And so, of course, there's not going to be a respect for a mother-son relationship or a mother-trans relationship, because simply they can't speak from that point of reference, because they never had that. They don't know what it's like for a mother to love a child beyond what you want me to call you. This has nothing to do with what you identify as. I love you as a whole. And so, and that was one of the things too that softened me up about you, because I felt like you were being attacked for simply loving your child. Yes. You see what I'm saying? And telling your child the truth. Because a lot of times they are warped in. I have to sit my daughter down. I have almost a 15-year-old daughter. And she's like, I identify as she. And I'm like, well, why do you have to say that? You're a girl. She's like, well, Mom, know. And I'm like, well, where the fuck are you getting this shit from?
School.
You know?
Society. And so, politics.
Yeah. Right. And my thing is, I don't think any child should be trying to figure out whether they're he, she, thee, or they. That is associating sex with a child, and they should be trying to figure out how to develop themselves character-wise, and then whoever you lay in the bed with, that's on you.
Baby, all this coming directly from this administration and this current White House in regards to transgenderism in children. In order to even become transgender, you have to transition. So the fact that we are even looking at children and even trying to think that they need to sexually transition. We talked about 3, 4, 5. Listen, I went with my girlfriend to school the other day to pick up her 2-year-old in daycare. We go up in there, they got the puzzle piece on the board. It says sexual orientation. Why does a 2-year-old need to know that? Like, why? And he's like, well, because they got blended families now, and this is a new order, and 2 mamas can be a family. And I'm like, listen, like, these children are young. Like, some things they just, like, when I was a kid, I was just a kid. Like, we weren't worried about who was sexing who with what, or who liked who, or who was what.
An uncle or auntie in the family, and we never asked no questions.
And the thing about it is like, when you say LGBTQ children, you know, what is the abbreviations? They're all sexualities. Lesbian is a woman that likes to have sex with women. Bisexual is a person that likes to have sex with both sexes. They're all sexualities. So how do you even say LGBTQ children? Like, it's an agenda, and we got to wake up.
So you, it's safe to say that you agree with a lot of what Boosie is saying.
Oh, absolutely, I agree. And Boosie has a right to say what he's saying. And we should all have a right to parent our children. Like, if I don't want my children to believe that that's of our morals and our values, then guess what? I have a right to do that. And this is what gives us this right? Because for me, it's my bloodline and my lifeline. And I know that in order for me to have grandchildren or for my lifeline to continue, that has to come from a heterosexual relationship in some form or fashion. Like, a man and a woman has to get together. So if I want grandchildren, or if our job, right, we should want to see our lifeline grow. And so I think that they're pushing a lot of agendas, even when it comes to our children, that are contradicting life. Right? So in no form or fashion should we think that it's okay, or allow them to force us to believe that it's okay for a 3 or 4-year-old boy to believe that he's not supposed to have a penis.
And you see, here's my thing too. I mean, we're seeing the conversations everywhere. In TV shows, I remember there's a new TV show. Well, it's not new. It's an old kind of just remake. And 2 of the kids, it was a high school show, and 2 of the kids snuck out of the room. It was 2 boys, and went in the principal's office and made out. And I was like, well, what is this? Like, and I was like, when I was watching TV shows coming up that took place in high school, they didn't sneak off. They kind of went on a date in a car, maybe went to a bonfire, but sneaking in the principal's office, and my children are watching this like, this is okay, or this is a cool thing.
I mean, not only on that, but come on, we got Lil Nas X riding the stripper pole from heaven down to hell that had sex with Satan on the satanic altar, and now he's pregnant.
But my thing is, like,
who the daddy?
If it's inappropriate for a girl and a boy to discuss sex as children, why should it be okay for, quote, LGBTQ community to push that this is okay? Like, they should be able to identify how they want. True, but why are we intertwining sex in that?
And there are a lot of, just to be clear, there are a lot of LGBTQ people that agree with us, right? It's not all of them.
No, listen.
There's a lot of them that agree because they're like, this is it's insane. But again, like how we were talking about how Antifa hijacked the BLM movement, right? And how we had people that hijacked the Trump administration. Guess what? LGBTQ being hijacked by pedophiles. It just is what it is. And we all got to wake up. Any way they can find to get in and give a construed message, they will. Nobody should be talking to our children about sex. They're teaching our children things that we aren't even teaching them.
Yeah, I've had to answer a lot of questions and correct a lot of the information that was given. But listen, so it's safe to say that you won't be facing any type of charges. The federal government doesn't have anything on you?
You know, people do what they want to do, but I will say that there is no records whatsoever on me having any type of communications with anybody about any type of insurrection. I knew nothing about anybody going to the Capitol. I had no plans about going to the Capitol. I didn't talk to anybody about going to the Capitol verbally, electronically. Nothing is written. Nothing has come from me. My only purpose for being there that day was, for one, to speak about the importance of fighting for the innocence of our children, and then to hear the president's speech, which I didn't get to hear because I felt the bad vibes.
So what's next? I mean, I know.
Wow, the Ask Show.
Yes, okay.
Angela Stanton King, ASK. So I'm just asking. So like you said, they've taken down all of my pages because I've been asking questions. I've been wanting to know what's going on. They talking about human trafficking, children going missing. Everybody saying it's a conspiracy theory. Then next thing I know, I'm down in Miami at the club with my girlfriend, 12 o'clock at night. And here come two little girls being paraded across the stage with masks on and shoes too big, making sexy poses after 3 drag queens, men dressed in drag, that just had a sex orgy on the same stage, brought them out. Now, they made me show my ID. I'm trying to figure out what did the little girls show, because they wasn't nothing but about 7 to 8 years old. Was it their birth certificates? Like, why are they on stage performing? I'm just asking, right? Stuff that's going on in these schools, stuff that they're teaching our children, teachers coming out, tweeting about, wanting to know how to legally teach our children about kink without parents being able to know. I'm just asking.
Why do you want to teach my child about that?
What the hell is kink? I've been living for quite some time. What is kink? I've been around you. You know. And why do you want to teach that to children? And why are we so focused on sex when it comes to children, these young? What's really going on? And if the numbers are so high when it comes to human trafficking, right? Then are these masks hiding the identities of children or of missing people? How can we help identify them if everybody has a mask on? Right? And if we're so worried about the rise in COVID, why are we letting so many illegal immigrants flow through our borders? I just got questions. So the Ask Show. TheAskShow.com.
Where can they follow you to ask you anything?
So you guys can ask me on Ask Show TV is my new Twitter and also my new IG. And then YouTube, you can subscribe to the YouTube channel, The Angela Stanton King Show. But the AskShow.com, definitely keep that on your belt because we don't know how long it'll be before they take me down again for just asking questions.
I doubt that. We just got to, you just got to work to put something in place to where they can't touch it. You understand what I'm saying? And so they've tried that with Alex Jones, and he still has his website, and he's still doing very well. You know what I'm saying? And so, and I think it was kind of a better move for him because a lot of people, they really go in on him. But I mean, the frogs and with the pesticides and them altering and being gay. I mean, it was so much stuff, and they called him crazy.
And now they telling me I'm crazy. Put me on TV with a white man. Everybody talking about white supremacy. Here I am, a black mama fighting for my son. Right. He gonna tell me I gave birth to a woman. Like we gotta wake up.
And Jay doing?
We are really good. Okay. We're parenting.
He speaks very, very highly.
We are parenting child. Like that is my baby. When I went to prison and I went for 2.5 years, I think he was 3 years old. My baby literally would sit outside on the porch every day and wait for me to come home. Loves me, infatuated with me, love my strength, love everything about me.
People know this. Like speaking with him off camera, he speaks very highly of you.
Yes, he loves his mama.
And that was my main thing.
And I
wanted to bring him in to ask, like, how could you allow anybody to talk any type of way to your mama?
What
what he said? My mama can handle herself.
He know it, and that's why he's who he is, and he can handle himself as well. And that's why my daughter won the Harvard championship, the international debate, little Imani. So
she is a force to reckon with. So that speaks a lot about your character. And I think people have to see that you have these strong, very individual children.
And I'm just, and my children are a lot like me in a lot of ways, you know, like they're going to stand strong on their beliefs. And I taught them that. And at the end of the day, we don't have to always agree. You know, my mom didn't agree with everything that I did, and I did some horrible things when I was a kid. I had to think about that. I didn't do everything my mom wanted me to do. That didn't mean that she didn't love me. But as a parent, right, it's nobody else's job in this world to speak life into my son but me. That's my job because that's my lifeline. And so if I want to tell my son, baby, you know, if Martin Lawrence did it, you know, he was Shanae. Wanda, you know, what's the other one name? Jamie Foxx. Yeah. He was Wanda, Eddie Murphy, Tyler Perry, Wesley Snipes, right? They've done it. Baby, if you want to do that, right, do that. But don't ever let these people, not no white man, not nobody, put in your mind, right, that you are something that you are not. Right. And we can agree to disagree. But as a mother, it is my, and I could be hated forever, but as a mother, it is my job to tell my children the truth.
Well, let's say,
and that's what I'm gonna stand on.
You're the only one that'll lay down your life for your child. Nobody else will do that. Anybody sitting on that screen telling you, "Oh, you a bad mother for this," but you'll be the first to catch a bullet for them. And that's what I tell them.
And release a couple bullets and release a couple bullets for them too, though. Right. Please don't get it twisted.
You know what I'm saying? So
right, we're not.
And that
I'm coming for them.
Always have a mutual respect on. Yep. So and that's the reason why I didn't want to, bring him in to reiterate the same thing. My thing is that's your mom. And that's what I appreciated. And that's why I kind of got over and was like, let me reach out to her because I appreciated that. Because everybody else that was bringing him on the show was just trying to create this animosity. Like even Tamar Braxton told him that he didn't need his mom. And I'm like, shit. But she got a son.
It might be on his way to wearing heels too, you know. I'm just saying, I don't wish it on nobody, but you have to be very careful. Sometimes you can do a little bit too much. Yeah. He does need his mother, and I think that during that time, he and I were both suffering because his father had been tragically murdered, and even though I've gone on and I'm remarried, but his father and I grew up together, and we were very close. And it went from not being like a boyfriend-girlfriend situation, but to like a brother-sister-like situation. And his father was not only supportive of me, but took care of all of my other children. They weren't even his. So it was it was a loss because his dad had just come home from prison. Like he had only been home for a year. He was hurting, I was hurting, emotions were flying all over the place. I think he had made the announcement or something about transitioning right on the heels of his father's death. And I'm feeling like, baby, you just emotional. Like, hold on, don't make this decision right now. You know what I'm saying? Just give it time because, there are reports of a lot of people who have made that decision and regret it. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, if I hate to be so blunt and I ain't trying to hurt nobody's feelings, but if you cut it off, will it grow back?
And you know what? I have a lot of transgender friends, and the one thing that they said some of them regret, and some of them haven't made the transition, is that they regretted making that transition because what happens is a lot of that stuff that's supposed to come out when you ejaculate doesn't come out, so it tries to come out in other ways, and they suffer from depression, anxiety, a lot of other things because they're not chemically releasing what their body needs to release. And so when people think that they'll be okay until they find a way for a man who's transitioning to ejaculate, then I don't think it's a successful surgery.
Well, not only that, let's just think about some of the decisions we made when we were young and they ended up impacting us for a lifetime. So we shouldn't be encouraging young-minded people to make lifetime. I mean, you can't even get a tattoo until you're 18 years old. I mean, the frontal lobe isn't even developed until you're 25 years old. So, who I am now today is not who I was 15 years ago.
And I'm gonna have to bring you back for another show. I mean, I'm gonna have you back on the show plenty of times. We have to talk about when are children adults? Because that's a subject I've always wanted to touch on.
Let's talk about that.
And I've heard
maybe I could bring you on my show.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Let's just ask.
Let's just ask.
You bring your kid out at 18, they can't even make their bed. You know what I'm saying? Like they ain't grown. You know what I'm saying?
They think they grown.
They think they're grown. But in other cultures, when you go to Africa, the kids don't leave until they get married.
Yep.
You know?
That's true.
And so I do want to bring you back just to, touch on a lot of things in that arena. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me, Tasha.
Anytime. It was an absolute pleasure. And if anybody's asking out there, you are a very, very beautiful woman in spirit as well as physically. And I wish you nothing but the best. And I'll definitely be voting for you if you do continue to run for seats here in Georgia or any type of powers. And so, I mean, it's going to be hard to do. I mean, you see what they did to Stacey Abrams, but she came back hard.
You know, I really want to make a difference for my people. And when you get involved in politics and you go against the grain, it makes you a targeted. And we witnessed what has happened to our people in the past that tried to wake us up. We saw it with Martin. We saw it with Malcolm. We saw it with anybody that tried to start a revolution that put us back where we are supposed to be. So I'm just going where God sends. And I think that my nonprofit organization, American King Foundation, now with this Stop Medical Apartheid movement that we're doing, I kind of enjoy more educating and equipping our people with what they need than I do the political side. Like I really didn't like what I experienced. I didn't like the way that they degraded me in the media. It just wouldn't even give me a chance to fight for my people just because I was a Republican. And I think that we got to get past these things that divide us, like politics and religion and money, and find out where we can agree at. Let's come together, man, and really, really, really revolutionize and just do something that's going to be better for if we're the ancestors fighting for the next generation, what we fighting for? I'll leave it at that.
We ain't got nothing to fight for. Thank you.
Thank you.
Angela Stanton King.
Check this shoe out, baby.
Oh,
you see this shoe? You see this shoe? You see this? I'm just saying.
I need a little shoe cam. Look,
okay. Oh, yeah. Take it.
Okay. No, thank you.
All right, we're good.
Well, you are free to go.
Thank you.
Okay, no problem.
Where your cameraman? He just set up and got gone.
Shay!
They probably glad.
He can hear us. Oh, it was good. I think we were right at 9.
That was good. Okay,
yeah, 9:13. We
now
started at 8:13.
Run my
Okay. Yeah. She put her mic over there.
All right, Shayla.
Oh, I think it was good. I think it was great. Angela's an easy interview because she speaks. I said Angela is an easy interview because she speaks.